W T H.
What the hell?
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 This is the WTH.
The WTH podcast.
Hold on to your butts.
Jason Casey.
Jason Casey.
Kareem Daniels.
Kareem Daniels.
And Nate Darling.
Nate Darling.
From the Darling New Media Studios.
This is the WTH podcast.
Hello and welcome in to another episode of the WTH podcast. That looks better. Hey everybody, if you're watching on Facebook Live, welcome in. It's good to have you here amongst the excited to be on Facebook. Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Okay. We got a lot to get to. We got a lot to get to in the show today. There's been a shit ton that's happened in the past few days. I'm angry about a lot of things. I'm troubled by a lot of things. And we're going to get to them all. Oh, there's a baby.
Baby.
It's a baby.
Get in my belly.
Oh, there's some good stuff to start the show. There's some
So it's all about
the innocence of a child, as they say. So,
all right. Say bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Alma.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all good. That is all good.
Need some camera time.
Right?
The on-air sign was not flashing above my head right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Gots to do that. I'm going to go ahead and share that to a page. Nope, not that one. I like doing this stuff live on the air just because.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here we go. We are now going to be live on the Darling New Media Facebook page as well as my personal Facebook page. So, and now I'm going to hit record on the audio board. I'll be doing some editing later. You know, it's not the first time I've done that, where I ended up hitting starting everything up on the video and not hitting record on the audio board. It's a dumb thing to do, but it's not the first time I've done it. So, and I know how to fix it. So there's that. So we're all good to go. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
I am well.
Excellent.
Stupendous.
Well, you can't ask for more than that. So let's get right into it. Jason, what do you want to talk about?
Oh man. Have you guys watched Hannah on Amazon Prime? Either of you?
I have watched part of the first season.
I've not heard of it. Sorry, I was just looking at the comments and Bruce Ash says, "Nate, Bruce here, talk some shit." Thumbs up. Done, my friend. It's happening.
Just finished the second season. I read a review about it, and it's like, I don't know the source material. I guess it's based on a graphic novel, possibly, or a short story. There was a movie that was made from the story about 6-7 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved it, and the second season was pretty dope too. Like, I don't know, like, yeah, the review that I read was just something along the lines of like, starts off with a bang, but by the end of the season, you're like, why are they doing this show and taking the source material for this long? You know, and it's like, because they're broadening this. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Like, you know, when a show maybe doesn't, when you hear about a review of something that you watch, you're like, I liked it. Like it.
Well, they said that they're critics because they couldn't do it.
That is one thing they say. For me, I just go, you know what? I may like something that isn't necessarily good. Just because I like it doesn't mean it's good. Which I think more people should adopt that philosophy, because I can think I can know something that you like is terrible, and it's still perfectly okay for you to like it. It's totally cool. I like a bunch of stuff that isn't really good.
And everything's not meant to be like Academy Award winning.
Exactly.
Some stuff is, I mean, it's like a fantasy story, so it's not necessarily meant to be like awe-inspiring or jaw-dropping. It's supposed to be entertainment, and if you're entertained by it, then it was good.
Yeah, everybody's got a different perspective on it. That's my take. I mean, I don't really put a ton of stock in critics, other than there are some I'll see and I'll go, okay, I get what you're saying here, and I'll sort of compare it to my own experience. But I stopped really listening to critics a while ago because they just have such a different perspective on everything than I do.
Yeah, I was reading one critique, and it just turned out to be an ad for Bob's Big Boy. So,
Kareem, what do you want to talk about?
So I've just finished listening to a podcast called In the Dark. I listened to the second season of it, and everybody who listens to this knows I like true crime podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was about a black man who got charged with murder in Mississippi. He got tried 6 times.
Wow, normally they would get the black people in Mississippi the first time.
Well, they did, but the Supreme Court in Mississippi overturned two or three of the convictions. And then the last one ended up at the Supreme Court.
Gotcha.
And the same prosecutor prosecuted this guy 6 times over 20-something years.
That is commitment to your goal.
So, which actually ended up backfiring against him once he got to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court was like, "Well, you got charged with misconduct twice. What the fuck are you still doing on this case?"
Right.
And they pretty much said, they didn't say that, but they pretty much said that. It's like, couldn't they have given somebody else this case? So the prosecutor got rid of 41 of the 42 black jurors that were seated on the case, which was why it kept getting overturned, which is why it ended up getting overturned this time as well. But if you get a chance to listen to it, you don't necessarily have to listen to the whole podcast, but listen to the arguments in front of the Supreme Court. And like fucking Brett Kavanaugh, Alito, like some of the ones that you would think would have been on the opposite side of this case, you should listen to their commentary on it. And it gives you a little bit more respect for them, because it's a chance where you actually see them follow the law. And
that's the thing about the Supreme Court is, yeah, there are hot button things that are about societal change or societal evolution, or really hot button things where you're going to see these divisions. But I think if you really look at it, probably 85 to 90% of the cases that go in front of the court, they're strictly deciding on the rule of law.
Yeah.
But it's that 10 to 15% that man, the devil's in the details on those. What's the name of the podcast again?
It's In the Dark.
In the Dark.
And
Chris has been telling me to listen to that podcast. She listened to it a few months ago and was like, that it's amazing and a crazy story.
Yeah, it's a crazy. And Clarence Thomas was so the one of the big deals was this was the case that he had spoken up about, which was like the first time he'd spoken up on the Supreme Court in like 9 years. And it was to ask the question of he said, well, if the DA was striking all of the black people, well, what were the color of the people who were striking? The defense attorney was striking. And, the lady was like, well, they were white. But then Elena Kagan took over and was like, well, the reason why she was striking white people was because the district attorney had struck all the black people. So he didn't have nobody else to strike.
Right.
And the podcast actually helped get him out of prison. So the podcast was actually used as evidence at the Supreme Court. So that is the power of podcasting.
Exactly.
And that's how far we've come with the genre. So we're not getting anybody out in jail anytime soon, but podcasts are important.
It's true. And if you'd like to have your own podcast at Darling New Media, we can help you do that.
That's right. We can help you help somebody get out of prison
Yeah,
for something that they didn't do.
Interestingly enough, we at Darling New Media just signed our first nonprofit, the Crop Organization, which is a nonprofit that helps deal with prison reform and rehabilitation. So there are some pretty cool podcasts that are going to be emanating from our studios here. I mean, besides ours and the All Eyes on Us podcast, those guys on Sunday, they're nuts, by the way, absolutely nuts, but in a great way. The Crazy Classy Colored podcast that records here on Friday, those three ladies are fantastic. Steve Jamona show, he was just in with Corky McDonald was on his show just now. So cool. They wrapped up a little bit before you guys got here. So a lot of really cool shows coming on. Here's what I want to talk about. What is going on in Roseville?
Nothing fits, but this one might top them all. Police say a woman refused to leave a local store, and you won't believe what happened next. A regular day at work turned into quite a show at the Verizon store off Galleria Boulevard in Roseville.
She's refusing to leave, not wearing masks. They've asked several times and she's refusing.
A dispatch operator tells an officer a group of 3 people aren't wearing masks and refusing to leave the Verizon store. But it's what happened next that's jaw-dropping.
They're calling back again and advise that female now pulled her pants down and is urinating inside the business.
Are you kidding me? That's terrible.
So it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's bathrooms all over the place too.
Absolutely not. That's totally inappropriate. It's not. We're not animals.
Okay, we don't need the man on the street for this. We just don't. And of course, I'm paused on a lady with a camo mask, which is hanging down below her nose. So what is going on in Placer County? What is going on? I know that's the land of the Republicans. I know the Placer County Republicans were just down at the Capitol with a tent and a table trying to gather signatures to recall Gavin Newsom. But what the hell?
You know, that's where the church is in Placer County, the church that decided they were going to disobey the rule and they were going to have service because Jesus is going to protect them.
After taking several $100,000 in PPP loans?
Yep.
Ah, that's the one.
Yeah.
This story, by the way, this story has gone viral. If you search for woman urinates in Verizon store, you will get news sources from across the country and around the world. CBS 13 here in Sacramento broke the story.
I mean, let's be honest though. We've all wanted to urinate on the floor of the Verizon store.
I hate Verizon Wireless. Look, I hate Verizon Wireless as much as the next person. But
we've all wanted to. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
we don't.
I can't. Now here's how it all ended up. She did end up getting arrested, but not for that. She ended up getting arrested because they found a bunch of stuff that she had shoplifted from Dick's Sporting Goods in her car.
Hey, you do not commit a crime. You only commit one crime at a time.
All right, let's hear from more of these people.
I've seen other people who fought about the mask and did other things, actually get into physical altercations. But that's like a whole new story. That's just like who rose you up when you're young.
Gosh, are you kidding? That's like an animal. That's what my dog would do if I brought him out.
Police got to the scene and confirmed the incident, telling me they eventually arrested the woman after finding several stolen items from a nearby Dick's Sporting Goods.
But urinating on the floor, that's not something down there. It's something up here that's wrong.
Probably not too much to say other than the fact that it's probably not the right way to have a reaction to it. So simply wear the mask for to sleep, I guess.
I'm very disappointed that we as society choose to have disunity and let this coronavirus divide us.
Now, I did talk with a Verizon spokesperson over the phone. They are requiring all their customers to wear masks in their stores. The spokesperson says this incident, though, wasn't just about their mask policy, but she wouldn't comment further about exactly what happened.
Okay, I need to know exactly what happened. Yeah. If the Verizon people are saying it wasn't just about masks, there was clearly some other incident that went on. And by the way, have I mentioned that I hate Verizon Wireless? Because I do a lot. I when I lived on the East Coast, the place where I lived, if you wanted a cell phone, you had to go through them because there was no other towers.
Oh,
yeah, it was one of those rural situations, which a lot of people are stuck with them.
Yeah.
So I completely understand hating Verizon Wireless. Have I mentioned that? I hate Verizon. Hate them. Hate them with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. Unless they want to sponsor the podcast, in which case, welcome to Verizon Wireless. I'm happy to take your cell phone and your overpriced service as a clientele. That's all I want to say. The before that happened, the story I really wanted to talk about is headline: Naked man said he did shrooms with Jesus. After breaking into a Kentucky home, a naked man explained to police that he had, quote, used mushrooms with Jesus and that they were playing a virtual reality video game together.
Oh my gosh.
Jason, you're our resident video game expert. What do you make of this?
I want some of those shrooms, bro. Who doesn't want to play VR with Jesus?
Upon arriving at the home around 1:30 a.m., officers encountered John Stephanopoulos. I wonder if he's related to George. Standing in the residence, the 41-year-old Stephanopoulos, who does not live in the property, was completely nude and had a substantial amount of blood and mud on his body.
Oh.
When he rushed cops after ignoring orders to get on the ground, he was tasered and handcuffed following a brief struggle.
Nobody wants to wrestle a naked man.
That's why you tase him.
That's it.
That's why you tase him first. So, anywho, that was what I wanted to talk about. Some crazy shit going on there. So let's just get this out of the way. Let's just get to it, get through it, take a deep breath, hold our nose, whatever we have to do. It's time for some Trump stuff. Exactly. We start with President Trump talking about the secret police. I'm going to call them the secret police. They're not a secret. We know about them now. They're a new federal police force that they've unleashed upon us. Although I would argue it's not really new. They've had crackdown squads in dictatorships for decades. Decades they've had them. But they've been in Portland in particular lately. He has said that they are going to Chicago next. They're coming to a town near you, everybody, because the Second Amendment trumps the First, apparently. And here's what he said in the Oval Office.
And then the police are afraid to do anything. I know New York very well. I know the police very well. New York's finest. And the fact is, they're restricted from doing anything.
Okay, so he knows that they're called New York's finest.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
They can't do anything. Well, I'm going to do something that I can tell you, because we're not going to let New York and Chicago and Philadelphia, Detroit and Baltimore and all of these, Oakland is a mess. We're not going to let this happen in our country.
What are you talking about, you crazy old man?
You do know that more white people live in Oakland than black people now, right?
Well, since Jerry Brown moved in, sure. I don't think he does. He doesn't realize anything.
All run by liberal Democrats.
More federal law enforcement to some of these cities?
More federal law enforcement, that I can tell you. In Portland, they've done a fantastic job. They've been there 3 days, and they really have done a fantastic job in a very short period of time.
That's why the local authorities have asked them to leave.
Yes.
Get out.
Numerous
Get
times.
out.
No problem. They grab them, a lot of people in jail. They're leaders. These are anarchists. These are not protesters.
That's not correct.
It's not correct.
People say protesters. These people are anarchists. These are people that hate our country.
Nope, they hate you.
And we're not going to let it go forward. And I'll tell you what, the governor and the mayor and the senators out there, they're afraid of these people. That's the reason they don't want us to help them. They're afraid. I really believe they're actually maybe even physically afraid of these people.
If they were actually physically afraid of these people, they would be asking you for help.
Yeah.
Actually,
right?
they'd call out the National Guard.
Which
National
who's
Guard.
supposed to do that. We're not supposed to be rendering people in the United States of America. You dumb fuck.
Yeah, these unmarked police units There's no names. There's no agency. They're grabbing them, people, putting them in unmarked vehicles and bringing them to undisclosed locations.
Like they're terrorists.
Like they're terrorists. Or like the Germans did in the 30s and 40s.
Like they're not citizens.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is happening. It's a problem, and it's going to be happening in other places soon. And
we tried to tell y'all.
Look, he tweeted law and order in all caps more than 150 times. That was the prelude. This is the payoff. And yeah, of course, it's a distraction from one of the 1,000 other things that are going on. I put on Facebook this morning that you remember that Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire," where it lists like 1,000 things in about a 4-minute song. Someone needs to do that, but with all the shit Trump has done since taking office. Now, the only problem is the song would not be 4 minutes. It would be longer than Alice's Restaurant, which is 18 and a half. Thank you.
They don't test.
Thank you for getting the reference, Kareem. I appreciate that.
I have Alice's Restaurant.
It's a length of song joke. He's done a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he sat down with Chris Wallace for an interview on Fox News Sunday, and the Washington Post edited down to the best 4 minutes. So they cut out 36 minutes, 40 minutes of this. Good God. It's bad. We're going to go through the best 4 minutes of the interview, or the things you really should be paying attention to.
European Union.
They don't test. They don't test like we test.
Is it possible that they don't have the virus as badly as we do?
No, it's possible that they don't test. That's what's possible.
Okay, deny it. You're wrong, but go ahead, deny it.
We find cases, and many of those cases heal automatically. We're finding
they heal automatically. Praise Jesus. They heal automatically. They don't. That's nonsense.
The way we're creating trouble.
A lot of people say this is because we don't have a national plan. You talk about states. We don't have a national plan. Do you take responsibility for that?
Look, I take responsibility always for everything.
Okay, this is a man who, when asked a couple of months ago if he took responsibility, said he does not take responsibility.
Right.
Let me just point that out.
Because it's ultimately my job too. I have to get everybody in line. Some governors have done well, some governors have done poorly. But we have more tests by far than any country in the world.
But sir, testing is up 37%.
Well, that's good.
I understand. Cases are up 194%. It isn't just that testing has gone up, it's that the virus has spread. The positivity rate has increased.
Many of
virus
those
is worse
cases,
than it was.
many of those cases are young people that would heal in a day. They have the sniffles, and we put it down as a test. The coronavirus, I think that at some point.
Okay, so they flash back to July 1st for this clip.
That's going to sort of just disappear, I hope. I'll be right eventually. Say this.
I'll be right eventually.
Well, sure, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
Schools have to open. Young people have to go to school. And there's problems when you don't go to school, too. And there's going to be a funding problem because we're not going to fund when they don't open their schools. We're not going to fund them.
What the federal government gives is 8%.
10%. And you know what? That's
at this point, Trump has a sweaty upper lip. Unbelievably sweaty upper lip. He is uncomfortable.
He was not expecting this from Chris, huh?
No.
I don't know why, because Chris does this.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not being unfair to him. He's not Mike Wallacing him. He's only Chris Wallacing him.
Yeah, he just half the
right. And we've got the frame I'm paused on. He's completely lost.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
And you're going to take them. You know where the money goes? It goes overwhelmingly to disadvantaged kids and children with disabilities.
Let the schools.
Why wouldn't you send more money so the schools would be safer?
Let the schools open.
And will you consider a national mandate that people need to wear masks?
No, I want people to have a certain freedom, and I don't believe in that. No, and I don't agree with the statement that if everybody wear a mask, everything disappears.
Whether you agree with it or not, that is how other countries have gotten it under control.
In
Japan, just recently today, right? They talked about Japan is now to zero transmissions, and they didn't have a lockdown New Zealand's been virus free for a couple of weeks now. Mass.
Yeah, those are islands though. So I mean,
yeah,
those are a lot easier to lock down and go, okay, it's our citizens. But yeah, the citizens actually have to do it. They can't just get upset and piss on the Verizon store floor.
And that's where we are, though. It's my opinion. That's fact. No, motherfucker, it's your opinion.
Right, and it's not based in fact.
Yes, it's in fantasy bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Let's continue.
Confederate flag offensive.
It depends on who you're talking about, when you're talking about. When people proudly had their Confederate flags, they're not talking about racism. They love their flag. It represents the South. It's freedom of speech.
So you're not offended by it?
Well, I'm not offended either by Black Lives Matter. That's free.
Okay, I will give him this. It is freedom of speech. That I will agree with him. I will give him credit for that. The Confederate flag is in fact freedom of speech. That doesn't mean there aren't consequences to your freedom of speech. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So don't say I don't give him credit, because I just gave him credit. One thing. Partial credit.
Freedom of speech. And you know, the whole thing with cancel culture, we can't cancel our whole history.
You said our children are taught in school to hate our country. Where do you see that?
I just look at school. I watch, I read.
He doesn't read.
He doesn't watch either.
He watches Fox News and OAN.
Yeah.
Look at the stuff. Now they want to change. 1492, Columbus discovered America. You know, we grew up, you grew up, we all did. That's what we learned. Now they want to make it the 1619 Project. Where did that come from? What does it represent?
Would you like to weigh in on that, Kareem?
So this is how you know he does not read and he doesn't know shit about shit.
Yes.
Because nobody has said that Columbus didn't discover America. Not necessarily that he didn't discover America, but nobody's tried to change the date on his arrival to America.
Right? That's established.
Like nobody's trying to change that at all. And the 1619 Project is a project written by some people from the New York Times that talk about slavery, its inception through modern day.
Right.
So oh my God.
Let's continue.
I don't even know. So
slavery.
That's what they're saying, but they don't even know. They just want to make a change.
No, they know. They wrote a whole. They know. They wrote a whole fucking series on it. There is a podcast on it.
They want a Pulitzer Prize. They want a Pulitzer Prize on it.
They don't know. They're saying slavery. They don't know. You know who doesn't know?
Oh man,
you don't know.
Sir, he does not.
Look, he signed a charter with Bernie
Okay, he's talking about Joe Biden now, claiming that Joe Biden wants to defund the police.
Sanders. I will get that one, just like I was right on the mortality rate. Did you read the charter that he agreed to?
It says nothing about defunding the police.
Really? It says abolish. It says fund. Let's go.
All right.
Get me the charter, please.
I understand.
So he had his staff track it down because he was super convinced. Because I'm guessing he thinks he can just bully a reporter into going, "Oh no, don't worry about it."
Well, that's because most of them don't challenge him on this bullshit.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You still have more than 100 days to this election, but at this point, you're losing.
First of all, I'm not losing because those are fake polls. They were fake in 2016, and
nope, real polls.
Are you sure?
Even more fake. Pre-existing conditions will always be taken care of by me and Republicans. 100.
Come on,
always
man.
They'll always be taken care of. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I wish I could believe that. I wish it were true. I really do. I 1,000% wish that were even remotely a true statement.
Especially when.
But you've been in office 3.5 years. You don't have a plan.
Well, we haven't had. Excuse me. You heard me yesterday. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. A full and complete health care plan that the Supreme Court decision on DACA gave me the right to do. So we're going to sign an immigration plan, a health care plan, and various other plans.
How will you regard your years as president of the United States?
I think I was very unfairly treated. From before I even won, I was under investigation by a bunch of thieves, crooks. It was an illegal investigation.
Okay. How did the Supreme Court ruling on DACA give you all this power? Because it didn't.
I don't know. But CNN. Go on.
Is it because it was DACA was something that was written by Obama as president, so it upheld like his ability to make determinations.
Executive orders.
Yeah. So I think that's why he's saying like, oh, so it was okay for Obama, so it'll be okay. Like, bro, it went to the Supreme Court. Like, don't think that, like, if you say something, it's not going to go there also. You know what I mean?
And he doesn't have the greatest track record in court.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to write a healthcare bill that's going to be that you can executive order in.
In 2 weeks.
No.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. But the Washington Post missed this great part that CNN decided to highlight. This is the best 14 seconds in the history of CNN, or so says Brian Tyler Cohen.
5 questions.
The very last questions ask that you name the date, the month, year, day, the place, and the city that you are in. And that is what the president of the United States is bragging about being able to do.
But I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions.
The very
I bet I could. Just saying. I bet I could.
I told y'all last week, my mom has taken this test 5 times and passed it, and still can't remember shit when she get home.
Right. Okay. We have one last thing in our Trump stuff segment. I know it's a lot to take, but I think we have to take our medicine. We have to take our medicine, and then we can have cake.
This is like having cake right here.
Well, for some people, yeah. So the president or CEO of Goya Foods last week or so ago stepped up and said that Donald Trump was a great leader. So that led a lot of people to saying boycott Goya Foods, which, great. He has the right to say that. He has the right to feel that way.
Yeah.
And people have the right to boycott Goya Foods.
That's right.
I don't care.
Me either.
Either way, I don't. I've never had Goya Foods. I've never longed for Goya Foods. I live in California. We have other options for that besides Goya Foods. So that was going so well that first Ivanka Trump tweeted a photo of herself holding a can of Goya beans. And then Big Daddy D decided that he was going to put out a photo of him with a bunch of Goya products spread across the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. And Chris Cuomo has what some are calling the only correct reaction to that.
You tell me how a president in the middle of a pandemic has got time for this bullshit. Are you kidding me? Hawking products at Goya, I don't care who it is. Resolute desk. This is what he's resolute about.
The dollar bill, y'all.
Pandemic priorities. His daughter Ivanka, top White House advisor. Are you kidding me? Marketing for a brand following calls for boycotts after Goya's CEO heaped praise on Trump last week. On your dime, in the middle of a pandemic. They're selling beans. Are you kidding me? Seriously. This is not left and right. This is reasonable, my brothers and sisters. The guy's sitting on the Resolute desk with a bunch of Goya products. Go fuck yourself.
This is how we're going to end every Trump stuff segment.
Go fuck yourself. Say it again. Go fuck yourself.
I was wondering if he was going to eat some ass on the table.
Nope.
Go fuck yourself. Say it again. Go fuck yourself.
The Resolute desk.
The Resolute desk.
I wonder if he would eat some ass there. He probably would, right?
If you're gonna, you do what you got to do, I guess. All right. So the Washington NFL team, they've had quite a time recently. They have announced they are changing their name, but not to what they are changing it. So you think that's the end of it? Oh no. This is a story last week that was teased on Sunday and finally dropped on Thursday evening that the Washington Post did. And there was a lot of speculation as to what the story would be, and a lot of it really crazy. But what ended up happening is the story is 15 women say they were sexually harassed while employees of the Washington NFL team. That's 15 between 2006 and 2019 by other employees of the organization, including some members of owner Dan Snyder's inner circle. Will Hobson and Liz Clark of the Washington Post spoke to the 15 women, 14 of whom remained anonymous over fear of retribution or because they signed a non-disclosure agreement with the franchise. Washington declined to release the women who wished to speak from their non-disclosure agreements. Sound familiar?
Yep.
But Emily Applegate, who began working for the team in 2014, said she and a coworker would meet every day to commiserate and cry about the frequent sexual harassment and verbal abuse they endured. Snyder declined several requests from the Post to provide comment on the allegations. The team has retained attorney Beth Wilkinson to investigate the allegations and the organization's culture, saying the Washington football team takes issues of employee conduct seriously. While we do not speak to specific employee situations publicly, when new allegations of conduct are brought forward that are contrary to these policies, we address them promptly. That's from the team. Coach Ron Rivera released a statement to ESPN's John Keim after the story broke, saying the biggest thing is that we have to move forward from this and make sure everybody understands we have policies that we will follow and that we have an open door policy with no retribution. Plus, my daughter works for this team, and I sure as hell am not going to allow any of this.
The interesting thing about that is he worked for Jerry Richardson in Carolina, and he did the same shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
7 employees, former employees, accused team radio announcer Larry Michael of misconduct, including making inappropriate, objectifying, and sexual comments. Michael abruptly resigned from his position before the story dropped. Alex Santos, the team's former director of pro personnel, was accused by 6 former employees and 2 reporters of making sexual advances or comments. The Athletic reporter Rhiannon Walker said Santos pinched her and said she had, quote, an ass like a wagon.
Go fuck yourself. Say it again. Go fuck yourself.
Walker also said Santos tried repeatedly to get her to date him despite the fact that she declined his advances. Santos, who's married, allegedly asked Walker if she would date him if they were both single. He persisted in the harassment. She said it felt like pretty much the worst thing in the world. He didn't care. He thought it was funny. It goes on from there. But the stories are awful of what was going on. It wouldn't be tolerated in any workplace in the 2010s, or shouldn't be. And the idea that it took a newspaper report for this to be noticed when you had 15 people who were openly commiserating. If you work in a place and there are groups of people getting together to cry about how they're being horribly treated, somebody knew.
Yeah. It almost seemed like they were trying to force him to sell the team.
That was the rumor, that he might be forced to. This does not rise to the level, I don't think, of the NFL. The NFL is investigating now. They're not going to make him sell the team. This doesn't rise to that level.
No, I mean, I don't think that it does either, but I'm just saying it seemed like this is how they got Richardson out of Carolina.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I'm just noting the pattern.
Yeah. A pattern of inappropriate behavior in NFL teams. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so I know I promised that we were done with Trump stuff. This is sort of only technically Trump stuff, a little bit of Trump stuff. It's from our friends at the Lincoln Project, which, in normal times would be people I don't agree with at all. But, I think they're onto something here.
That's how it starts. A president out of control as polls forecast his downfall. This is how it starts. In a small city far from the Beltway, shadowy men, no badges, no ID, deputized by a rogue attorney general, snatch so-called enemies of the state off the streets. This is how it starts. Without a warning or a warrant, heavily armed paramilitary units shove their targets into unmarked vans and race away. They fire on protesters with gas, flash grenades, and rubber bullets. And when the protesters put their hands in the air, they're assaulted with clubs and fists. This is how it starts. Faceless enforcers say you don't have the right to protest. Now Trump's bureaucrats are promising to send their thugs everywhere. Your town, your neighborhood. This is how it starts and how freedom dies. Unless we stand up, unless we speak out, unless we demand justice. Register and vote November 3rd, because if we don't, we know how it ends. The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And remember, there are in Portland and in Seattle, they're two of the whitest places in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They're not beating up black people.
Well, they are beating up black people there too.
Yeah, but
don't think they're not.
I mean, no, I'm not saying they're not, but it's mostly white people.
Yeah.
So white people, they're coming to your neighborhood next.
Well, and I have a number of friends that are up in Portland also, and like they're doing tours around the area that they're saying is a war zone, and like it's not.
Yeah, I saw an article about that, and it's basically 2 city blocks around the courthouse where people are protesting.
Yeah, and the reason the mayor is mad is because they were like, this shit was almost over.
Yeah, you came back in, you flared it up, you pissed people off, you gave them a reason to be out here, and no one wants your ass here. No
and
one.
most of those businesses were boarded up before this because of COVID-19. Like, it wasn't like they're all boarded up just for this situation that's going on there.
Right. All right. We're going to we're going to take a deep breath. As we move on to Terry Crews leads a call to defund Pornhub. That's right. While activists and organizations like Black Lives Matter are fighting to defund police, actor Terry Crews has decided instead to take a stance against Pornhub. The controversial entertainer, who's no stranger to making headlines for his views, is making waves once again after he posted a tweet last week that simply read, "Defund Pornhub at Fight the New Drug." His hashtag, Fight the New Drug, references a nonprofit that aims to provide awareness of pornography's harmful effects using only science, facts, and personal accounts. The organization also makes it clear that it's not affiliated with any religion or political party. While on the surface, Crews' message has good intentions, his followers quickly pointed out that Pornhub isn't publicly funded, nor does it receive government money. So his crusade to defund the site therefore doesn't make any sense and makes light of the current defund the police social justice campaign that was sparked in the wake of George Floyd's murder. I'm pretty sure it's self-sustaining and taxes do not go toward an online pornographic streaming service, responded one user, echoing what appeared to be sentiment shared by many. Now, despite the inaccuracy of his post, the America's Got Talent host has been open in the past about his previous battles with a porn addiction. Crews hosted a no porn quarantine live on Instagram at the beginning of the pandemic, where he urged people to resist the urge to gorge on pornography. He also called out companies like Pornhub for giving away free premium subscriptions, adding the virus and the quarantine has really brought the porn corporations out, and they're giving this stuff away in an attempt to get you hooked. Let's take a listen to Terry Crews. By the way, he has 6.9 million followers, so when he says something, a lot of people see it.
Hey guys, how you doing? At 3:30, I am going to be on Instagram Live talking about a no porn quarantine. Yes, a no porn quarantine. I'm here to answer your questions, here to talk about what pornography does to you, what it did to me. I want to answer the questions. Let's talk it out. 3:30, I'm here. This virus and the quarantine has really brought the porn corporations out, and they're giving the stuff away in an attempt to get you hooked. So let's talk about it.
Jason, are you hooked?
Man, I've been hooked to Pornhub for probably at least the last 12 to 13 years. I've never paid a cent for it. We just lost Nate. Oh, here he comes.
All right, here I am. I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back. All of a sudden, the screen in front of me went. Something went wrong. I'm like, what?
What?
Nothing.
man.
Nothing touched anything.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like when you say defund Pornhub, that just is the most ridiculous thing. And asinine. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm just sad that I didn't know that they were giving away free memberships. Like, fuck, man, I would have been on that shit.
Well, I'm guessing it's not going to be free forever.
Yeah, well, I mean, just for 2 or 3 months, bro. Like, there's definitely some videos I'd like to watch.
Oh, I see. Kareem, can you enlighten us a little bit more into Terry Crews? Because I've been hearing a lot about Terry Crews, and until the past couple of months, I only knew him from like Terry Tate Office Linebacker and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and stuff like that. And he seems to be a decent enough guy. What's going on with Terry Crews?
I think Terry's on the Kanye train. Or Terry's one of those people who sees the best in everybody and everything.
He's just a good guy, too good for his own good.
That could be it. I'm gonna give him that benefit of the doubt because I don't want to tear down another black man today.
I don't think his intentions are bad. Yeah. I will give him that. I don't believe that his intentions are bad. So, I mean,
maybe he found Jesus again, and
where's Jesus?
And he's in the early stages of that. That's how they get when they first convert.
Right.
I mean, he's talked about the porn thing. Like, I've been hearing those stories since he used to go on the Adam Carolla show. Like, I haven't listened to Adam Carolla for like 6 years, and he was talking about it like 6 years ago about his porn addiction stuff. Like, this is not new for him to be like anti-porn. And I get it, you know. So I mean, that's some people's addiction, right? Addiction. But nice. I don't know, man. He's just, I think sometimes he's a little tone deaf of like what the other things that are going on, you know, like this is not the time to try to co-opt movement of defunding this. Just like, you know, when he's talking bad about Black Lives Matter also, you know, so.
Yeah. It's something. Hey, remember that couple that was waving guns around in their St. Louis gated neighborhood at protesters?
Yes.
Well, they've been charged with gun crimes.
Nice.
Mark and Patricia McCloskey each face a single felony count of unlawful use of a weapon, exhibiting. Oh, look at this weapon. Charging documents say he pointed an AR-15 at protesters, and she wielded a semi-automatic handgun, placing protesters in fear of injury. She clearly did. What I saw, I couldn't tell if he was doing the same thing. It looked more like he was pointing it at his wife, which, you know, whatever. Clearly not handling guns in a responsible manner. Charging documents say investigators conducted numerous witness interviews and relied on video footage and the McCloskey's own statements about the June 28 incident. Excuse me. In a statement, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kimberly M. Gardner said it's illegal to wave weapons in a threatening manner at those participating in nonviolent protest. And while we are fortunate this situation did not escalate into deadly force, this type of conduct is unacceptable in St. Louis.
Get him.
So you can't go out on your. What's the world coming to when I can't go out on my front lawn and wave a gun at people walking by?
Man, fuck them. They're horrible people. Like,
I mean, they're personal injury lawyers. So,
well, and if you read the number of lawsuits, personal lawsuits that they brought against other people and other things, like since the 90s, like every single one of them is like dickish stuff. Like they tried to take some of this, like the Supreme Court of the state in regards to having same-sex partners live in their community, like. Because there's a thing saying that you have to be married to cohabitate in the community that they live in, and they're like trying to do this weird law that was like in the covenants, and like no, they have to be married to try to prevent homosexual.
All the single ladies, they're ridiculous. All the single ladies,
but that's just
single ladies.
One of like at least 24 that I read about, like lawsuits that they've done. Like they're just horrible people. And this is a part of the show that I do by myself. Hope you're all enjoying this.
Me too.
There you go.
It's me too. Yeah, now we have to wait for Kareem to come back. Well,
I was getting ready to do my own show.
Right? Oh boy, it's one of the fraught with technical issues. Okay, there's Kareem.
There we go.
And all right, there he's back. We're all back. Yay. Okay, why am I
Mute Kareem.
Oh, Kareem, mute yourself, God damn it. There we go.
There we go.
Better. All right.
All
We'll
right.
figure this all out. Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Now, in
man.
separate rallies, Utahns, say that 3 times fast, protest mask mandate and demand in-person classes. Oh, these fucking idiots. Kareem, where are all the black people? Oh, it's Utah. Are there? I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just having a hard time. But there's fewer than at a Trump rally. But then again, these people aren't being paid to be there.
That is true.
In Provo, as she walked up to the podium to speak, one of the moms grabbed a face mask and spit her gum into it. Said it's garbage. She shrugged, wadding it up. It doesn't work anyway. Not for me and my kids. A dad who spoke after her said that he, too, doesn't think the masks are effective, and he's pulling his kids out of school this fall if the state doesn't lift its mandate requiring all K-12 students to wear a face covering. Another mother carried her 4-year-old son in her arms, noting there's no way he would keep one in his kindergarten class, but she thinks they're stupid anyway, regardless of age. Parent after parent followed at the Utah County Commission's meeting last Wednesday, objecting for more than 2 hours to having their kids in masks, even as counts of the virus continue to climb across the state, where there are now more than 30,000 confirmed cases. They packed into the small boardroom to talk, pulling tape off the seats meant to maintain social distancing, and crowding in against the walls. They wore Trump 2020 hats and carried little American flags. And every time someone said freedom or constitutional rights, the whole room cheered. What a bunch of dinks. I'm sorry.
So there's a summer camp in Ohio, or Iowa, somewhere in the Midwest.
There was one in there was one in Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah.
82 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, 82 kids and
Adult.
people that worked at the camp.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's a hoax.
Provo resident Cynthia Harding said, this mandate for the children to wear masks is baloney. We have the right to make our own choices. Then keep your fucking kid at home.
So is this the answer to what to do to drive white people crazy? Tell them they can't do something?
Yes.
Doesn't matter what it is.
It does not matter. It does not matter. And you know what it is? Because I have Jason, you have a small child at home too. Has little Alma become averse to what some call the N-word? Not that one, Kareem.
I know.
Oh no. Oh yeah. No, not so much. The 3.5-year-old, on the other hand, responds to almost everything with a no, no, no.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for me, I've got one that will be 17 months old here.
Yeah.
By the time this podcast drops, not today when we're recording. If you say no to her, she will almost without fail throw herself on the ground and begin to cry. And that, my friends, is what's happening to people when they're told they have to wear a mask.
Yeah. That's my 3.5-year-old does that for sure, at least 4 or 5 times a day.
Stop being toddlers.
Because this is what happens with black people if you do that. You get your ass whooped. Especially if you do it in public, because you're not embarrassing me in the store.
Well, a Louisiana man who was asked to leave a Walmart when he refused to wear a mask. By the
Did
way,
he
you have
take
to wear
his
a
shit?
mask. Yeah,
Did he take his shit inside the store?
he did not.
Oh, okay.
He did not. By the way, Walmart, Sam's Club joined a bunch of other retailers.
Everybody but Winn-Dixie.
No. They've relented now. Yeah.
Did they change their mind since this morning?
Yes.
Okay.
They have. They have. They're still leaving Dixie in the name, but you have to wear a mask. The Louisiana man who was asked to leave a Walmart when he refused to wear one was arrested after striking a cop with his car in the store's parking lot.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
Ricky Taylor, and by the way, isn't it great when a 64-year-old man's called Ricky? He was inside the Walmart near his West Monroe home Tuesday evening. Isn't that where the Duck Dynasty guys live?
Yep.
Okay. It makes sense. When a cop apparently working an off-duty security detail at the store advised him that the business's policy is for every customer to wear a mask. Upon being offered a mask, Taylor allegedly began cursing out the officer, saying, quote, "You can't make me wear a fucking mask. I'm not wearing a fucking mask." He would later claim that a purported medical condition prevented him from wearing a mask.
Sure.
Now, due to his unruly behavior, Walmart wanted him placed on trespass notice. So the cop asked Taylor for his driver's license, said, "I could give it to you, but I'm not." He headed to his vehicle. As the officer called the car's license plate to police dispatch, Taylor allegedly backed his car up and twice struck the patrolman. Now, after a brief struggle, Taylor was handcuffed and taken into custody, charged with aggravated assault on a peace officer, which is a felony, and disorderly conduct and resisting an officer, both misdemeanors. He was released from jail. Now, while visitors to the West Monroe store must already wear a mask, the entire Walmart chain is requiring them starting today, actually, if you're watching live. Police blotters nationwide are expected to immediately reflect fallout from this policy change. If you don't know that it's a police officer, if you think it's just by the way, don't get complacent with the rent-a-cops, because there's a lot of regular cops that make extra money doing that.
Yeah.
And just because you don't know doesn't mean you're not going to get hit with it if you decide to go, "You're a rent-a-cop." Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
You put this thing up and I was
Thanks
mesmerized.
Well,
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. These people are ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous, Medal of Freedom recipient Rush Limbaugh says Americans need to adapt to the coronavirus. Well, and here's how he thinks we should do it. By the way, his voice is nutty now.
COVID-19 is too convenient an excuse for a generation of people to just punt. We don't do this. We are Americans.
What don't we do? Listen to health experts?
Nope.
The right thing? What don't we do? And by the way, could he have more ridiculous pauses?
In the Spanish flu, 17, 18, 19, 17, 18, much death. Do you know that there was not one mention of it by the president of the United States at the time, Woodrow Wilson? Never talked about it.
He was shit.
Maybe that's why there was so much death.
By the way, Woodrow Wilson was shit. By the way, he's one of the two presidents that were born in Vermont. Woodrow Wilson was shit.
He was the guy who brought Birth of a Nation to the White House. Fuck Woodrow Wilson.
He was the guy who was so big on isolationism.
Yes.
You know, it's back to Rush Limbaugh.
There was no national policy to deal with it. There was no shutdown. There was just, hey, go outside, get some fresh air, stand in the sun as long as you can, get some vitamin D, feel better.
Well, no. There's literally hundreds of photos of people wearing masks everywhere.
Yeah.
People getting arrested for not wearing masks.
And when they stopped doing that, it's when they got the spikes.
Dumbass.
But the people who listen to him just take what he knows what he's fucking talking about. And that's the problem.
It had numerous waves to it. It coincided with World War I, which is what Woodrow Wilson's concern was.
Didn't he just say that Woodrow Wilson didn't say anything about it?
Yeah. Yes, he did. Thank you for paying attention to that.
Okay,
because I guarantee the average EIB listener does not.
Soldiers going off to war arguably spread one of the waves. But there was no woe is us. It was just the next in a long line of things that happened to people.
Like polio.
Yeah.
before we cured it. People used to just get polio and we liked it. I mean, he hasn't even gotten to the ridiculous part of this argument.
Hundreds of children died from meningitis. It's fine.
That they dealt with, like the Donner Party. You've heard of the Donner Party. Maybe some of you haven't.
Okay.
Oh my God.
He's going to the Donner Party. He's going to the fucking Donner Party. Get ready. Strap in. Let me tell you, if you've got a beverage near you, you might want to secure it. Hold on, take a sip now and swallow it, because I don't want you to do a spit take when you hear his take on this. And there's a chance. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2.
The Donner Party, the Donner family and a bunch of travelers trying to get to California over the Sierra Nevada mountain range. They made the mistake of trying to make the trip in the middle of winter. We're talking the Lake Tahoe region. They get to the peak. It was so bad that they had to turn to cannibalism to survive. That's what's noteworthy about the Donner Party. If you read the diaries written by the leaders of the Donner Party, the only reference to how cold it was one sentence. It was a particularly tough winter. It's just what was. They didn't complain about it because there was nothing they could do. They had to adapt. This is what's missing. There seems to be no concept of adaptation.
Okay. Jason, first of all, let me make this point, and then I'm going to go to you because you had a lot of facepalm there. Let me make this point. You know what adapting might be? Adapting might be doing some social distancing. It might be wearing a face covering. It might be washing your hands more and using hand sanitizer. It might be understanding that it's not all about you and your quote unquote freedom. It's about doing what you need to do to help society be healthier. That would be adapting. Not adapting means you just yell about how your rights are being infringed
and eat people.
And eat people. Jason?
There's just so many things that like are incorrect about the Donner Party that he's talking about. I mean, not only is it my grandmother worked at Sistron Donner, which was one of the Donner family was one of the founders of this company. So it's something that I've always known about. And like Ordeal by Hunger, I read that when I was like in 6th or 7th grade, which when you're talking about the diaries, excerpts from the diaries and whatnot are in Ordeal by Hunger. It's like would be the primary place you hear about this in high school, in California at least. But to say that they left in winter is such a fallacy, like from the beginning, because nobody ever made the trip in winter. But you can get caught in winter if you had various changes in the leaders of the wagon train. Like there's so many things that happened on the way to that point that got them to what happened, that there's bad decisions that were made, and the people generally were all not liked, distanced from socially by people. Like they adapted while they were there, but they lived shitty lives for the rest of their time there. And like survivor's guilt, PTSD, like you read about what happened to those people afterwards. The 5-6 people that survived, I think.
I will eat your ass first.
They did. They ate a lot of ass. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, of course, he doesn't care about facts or the real information. He doesn't. He just wants to incite. But like, it's just so ridiculous. Like they adapted to eating people. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
I'll eat your ass.
Like, how is that adapted? No, that's survival. That's not like that's not even like. Oh man, it's doing a horrific act to survive and then have to live with it for the rest of your life.
Well, sure. By the way, he just won the Medal of Freedom. Just FYI.
He's just saying it.
Sure. All right. So we stay on the other side of the looking glass for Laura Ingraham. and she has got some things to say about teachers.
Before COVID, and now I'm frankly disgusted because it's obvious they're putting students last and teachers' union political demands first. Your take.
I am so thrilled that you feel that way and that you are highlighting this for your viewers. I have been shouting about this for decades. So it is very important that we open our schools. That is true. The unions are using the closure of our schools as a smokescreen. Laura, here's why.
This will surprise no one from California. This woman is sitting in Irvine in Orange County.
Makes sense.
She is a former California teacher for 25 plus years. So,
sadly, these unions are actually using our schools to sexualize our children and to train them in anti-American ideology. They do this with a coalition of over 180 organizations, including, sadly, the CDC, Planned Parenthood, and Black Lives Matter Incorporated. It is shocking what they're teaching our children online through virtual learning. They're teaching our children to sext, to view pornography.
No, that's Pornhub. She got mixed up with Terry Crews.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Oh, man.
What is she even talking about?
So right now on the interwebs, and I keep seeing this shit in different spots, they're talking about child sex trafficking.
Right.
Everywhere. And it's one of those straw man arguments to make it seem like it's the argument that you can put out that's a distraction, that you seem like an asshole for calling it a distraction.
Right.
So that's what it is.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. In fact, I got called a horrible uncle by my niece a couple of days ago because I made a comment on her Facebook feed about why you should wear a mask. And I didn't even say it in a mean way. I was just very nice, like saying that I cared about her. But eventually she posted the thing like right after that saying, I wish people cared more about child sex trafficking than they did about wearing a mask. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You know, we can care about both.
Yeah.
So they're saying, so the thing that they're doing is saying that everybody in Hollywood's child sex trafficking. It goes back to that thing where Trump keeps saying it's coming, it's something really big is coming, and that's what everybody's talking about. So with Epstein now, everybody's involved with the child sex ring.
Sure, and that was one of the rumors going around about the Washington football team. That story, that was one of the rumors, that there was going to be something with these underage sex parties, and it absolutely not part of the thing. So what happened, that story dropped, and there's 15 women claiming that they were sexually harassed by employees of an NFL team. And a lot of people went, oh, that's it?
That's it. Sad. It can't,
Graham,
child sex trafficking is horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they keep because that's what they keep going back to. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like Chrissy Teigen deleted a bunch of people on Twitter because they were saying that she had been to Epstein's Island, which she would have been like 4 or 12 or some shit like that.
If she were there, she would have been a victim.
Yeah.
So our friend Chuck Woolery, remember him with his tweet about the most outrageous lies are the ones about COVID-19. Everyone is lying. The CDC, media, Democrats, our doctors, not all, but most, and we're told to trust. I think it's about the election and keeping the economy from coming back. It's all about the election. I'm sick of it. It was retweeted more than 36,000 times, including by President Donald Trump. A couple days later, he tweeted, to further clarify and add perspective, COVID-19 is real, and it is here. My son tested positive for the virus, and I feel for those suffering, and especially for those who have lost loved ones. Oh, it's real now that it's hit your family. But before, everybody was lying about it, and then he left Twitter.
Yeah.
He actually could have, and someone pointed this, I forget who pointed this out, but how great of an advocate would he be if he took this moment and turned it into, hey, I thought it's not a hoax.
Yeah.
But not just this, but to stick by it and to actually call people out moving forward. Imagine the good that he could do with the number of followers he has and in the age group and demographics they are. And he ran away.
Because he's a little bitch, like all the other ones.
Right? Absolutely. All right. Quickly, I want to move ahead to this. It's called the Iceberg of White Supremacy from W. Kamau Bell.
Many people think white supremacy is just like neo-Nazis and KKK members, but those guys, they're just the most visible tip of the iceberg, along with stuff like genocide, hate crimes, lynching, hate groups, the stuff good folks agree is bad. But beneath that cold, dark water is actually most of the structure that keeps white supremacy rolling along, like police brutality, some states not even having laws against hate crimes, legacy of Jim Crow law, gerrymandering, mass incarceration, prison pipeline, breaking treaties made with Native Americans, and much, much more. And then as we move deeper down the iceberg, we get to the harder stuff to see. Hearing racist jokes and not challenging racist rage baiting in the media. A black guy not being born in America. COVID-19. Chinese virus. And afraid of eating halal meat. Lives matter. I just can't pronounce your name. All the way down to, I never even owned slaves. The problem is, it's too easy to look up at the top and say, what a bunch of assholes. That's white supremacy, and I'm not that. It's everything else.
All right, that's. I have nothing to add to that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's from United Shades of America with W. Kamau Bell, which is on CNN. If you want to check that out. He's a good follow. All right, it's time for a week in terrible women. We start with a woman who, she was yelling at a Starbucks employee who asked her to wear a mask, and now check this out. Hold on. All right. The news story won't unmute. So it started when Amber Gillies posted a photo of a San Diego Starbucks barista, Lennon Gutierrez, with the caption, "Meet Lennon from Starbucks who refuses to serve me because I'm not wearing a mask. Next time I'll wait for cops to bring a medical exemption." A stranger from Orange County, Matt Cowan, said he wanted to donate a few dollars to the barista and tip money, so he started a GoFundMe. And as the photo on Facebook filled with hundreds of thousands of interactions and comments from people supporting the barista, the tip money eventually hit more than $100,000 to be donated to that barista. Lennon said he plans to use that money to further his education and to follow his dreams of dancing. Gillies said now she wants half the money.
Get the fuck out of here.
She said it was discrimination and everybody's okay with it, enabling and rewarding that behavior. She went on to describe the symptoms that prevented her from wearing a mask, saying one of them is I get shortness of breath, dizziness, and it messes with the heartbeat. And I do have asthma as well. And I do get mask acne. So there's several things going on. And not only that, but it doesn't even work. She provided ABC 10 News with 2 documents to prove her medical exemption. One's a pelvic exam for 2015. You're wearing it wrong. And with results that say probable exophytic fibroid arising from the anterior wall of the uterus, measuring 2.9 centimeters in size, and a simple 2.5 centimeter left ovarian cyst. Now, a second piece of paper is handwritten note with letterhead from a San Diego chiropractor who she asked not be named. The handwritten note reads, Amber has underlying breast conditions that prevent her from wearing a mask of any type of facial covering whatsoever. Please contact me if you have any questions.
Oh, my God.
So you had an ovarian cyst and you can't wear a mask, and a chiropractor wrote you a note.
Somebody she was sleeping with.
She could be sleeping with a chiropractor. She said she's spoken to a few lawyers about taking her case for getting half the money, but they just said they're all expensive, so she started her own GoFundMe to try and raise money.
Yeah, because they know that you were crazy.
He's like, yeah, lady.
Okay, if you want half of that money, here's what you got to do, lady. You have to marry Lennon.
Yes.
And then divorce him. And then you get half.
And I don't think Lennon's fucking with you.
I don't think Lennon's interested. He's interested in dance.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Meanwhile, a North Carolina woman who previously went viral for going on a racist tirade has now died after being struck by a fire department truck. According to the Asheville Citizen-Times, it's not funny, not at all. On July 13th, Rachel Dawn Reet suffered fatal injuries after being struck by the Asheville Fire Department vehicle. The next day, the police department spokeswoman confirmed that she had indeed passed away. Reet previously made international headlines during her racist video, rants, and attacks on a black teenager and a woman in a hijab. It won't play. I guess she'll have to rest in peace. The victim was hit in her face. Oh boy, yeah. You can look it up. It's interesting, but I feel bad for the person driving the fire department vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel good about anybody dying, but you know, what are you gonna do? Sad news. Before we get to small town news and get the hell out of here. After 2 years together, Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick have broken up, as Danica has unfollowed Aaron on social media.
Aw, can she keep a man?
And has been confirmed. No. Clearly not.
Can he keep a woman?
I was waiting for you to say that.
Well, no, I mean, like, he's been with hella women too, right? So I mean, like,
Well, they recently were publicly trading I love yous and had even shacked up together in a recently purchased $28 million mansion in Malibu.
Oh man,
damn.
Yeah, that's a lot. So that's it.
If you can't survive stay-at-home orders in a place like that during these times, and you're still getting a divorce, man.
Oh, they're not even married.
Yeah, well, just deal with it. I mean,
like, go to one end of the house, I'll go to the other.
Yeah, seriously.
Come back when we're better.
It did not get better.
It did not get better.
Did not get better.
Let's leave the hustle and bustle for small town news.
Already, we ran a little long, so let's get the hell out of here. We go to the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, where I was born and raised and have escaped from. Derby, Vermont, where a 38-year-old man was arrested following an incident in Derby. Police were notified of a home invasion reported on Bushy Hill Road around 10:35 p.m. The caller reported that a man, later identified as Conrad Labor of Coventry, had entered the home and locked himself in the bathroom. Once the parents gathered the family in an upstairs room, one of the parents gathered the family in an upstairs room, while the other, armed with a firearm, detained Labor in the bathroom until police arrived. Police say they gained entry into the bathroom and took Labor into custody. Nobody was injured during the incident. Police say Labor had stolen a vehicle in Coventry and driven to the home in Derby prior to the incident. He was transported to the Derby barracks for processing. He will face charges of felony unlawful trespass and operating without owner's consent. Apparently, nothing for being in the bathroom, but there you go.
Guess not.
So yeah, it sucks, especially if you've only got one bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've only got one. If somebody breaks in and locks themselves in my bathroom, I'm shit out of luck.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I will smite you.
Hope you got a bucket.
Hit you with a bucket. Come to my bathroom. I'm saying. I will dispatch you with great prejudice. All right, that's going to do it for us for this episode of the WTH podcast. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook Live, if that's the way you got it. Thank you for downloading it. Thank you for telling a friend. And no matter where you're listening, from Australia through the Middle East, across Europe, and even right here in California, we do appreciate you, and we hope you have a great week. And we hope that you're handling all the stress well. We hope we helped a little bit. Jason, thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Kareem, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll see you next time on the WTH podcast. Take care. Bye.